What's up, Cougar Country? Tyler Collier here, lead director of social media and content creation. Now, I just want to give a heads up. We are now going to be more active than ever on all social media platforms, this being YouTube at Clovis High Football. All of our other social medias are under Cougar Football, Instagram, Twitter, as well as TikTok. And now this is going to be more of an interview basis, but after this, we're going to have weekly podcasts, get to know more about Coach Wilkins and other cool stuff about the foundation and all the teams and whatnot. But welcome, Coach. What do you think about the new program? What kind of led you here? Tell us about it.
Yeah, the program's been just a great experience so far. I think, what led me to Clovis High School is, I come from the college level. I spent 8 years at the FBS levels, Liberty University for 5-3 at Northern Illinois University. And I think what led me to come back is my wife actually, and me going through college. It was really just a family decision that her and I wanted to make, so I had more time to be a dad and more time to be a husband, more time to be a, obviously just a better fit for us. And so we knew that we were going to come back to California, and I didn't know exactly what job was going to be open, and there was multiple, and Clovis High was one that said, hey, we believe in you. We're going to give you a chance and give you a shot. So honestly, now that I look back, I think this is the perfect fit for me. Clovis matches who I am. It matches my mentality. The kids match who I am. The kids match my mentality, and I think it's the perfect fit at the right time. And a lot of times in this business, it's the timing piece, and the timing was perfect.
So just give us a little bit of a history on your coaching and where have you been, throughout the years.
Sure, yeah. So I started my career as a high school coach here in the Valley. Started at Firebaugh High School out there way on the west side, and I started coaching at basically every sport. I was a head girls basketball coach, baseball coach. I was a defensive coordinator at the varsity level, and offensive coordinator at the junior varsity level. So I was able to get a ton of coaching experience. I also coached a really, really talented young quarterback. At the time, obviously, we didn't know he'd turn into what he turned into now, but Josh Allen was my quarterback, my first quarterback that I ever got to coach. So it's just been a great experience there. Then I transitioned to college, and I started at Reedley College right out here, right on the outskirts of Clovis, and we recruited the heck out of a really good team. Josh Allen happened to be our first, or especially my first and our first at Reedley College, really recruiting class when we got there. And that was awesome. But I think what happened was my wife, being a physician, she got into medical school at a school called Liberty University in Lynchburg, Virginia. And she came back, and she was on her visit. She came back and she said, "This is where I want to be." And it was just a decision I had to make on how I was going to make that work. And I wanted to stay at the college level, so I volunteered at Liberty there my first year, and then I was able to work my way up. And also transition that program from an FCS to an FBS program. And what that is FCS is kind of like the bottom tier. They used to call it 1AA, but FBS is the top level of college football. And we were instrumental in developing that program, recruiting for that program, and getting that program when we were the first team, one of the first teams to ever win 6 games in our first year of FBS experience. Worked for a great man by the name of Turner Gill, former ex-Nebraska quarterback, former ex-national championship coach, Heisman Trophy winning coach. I mean, you name it, Coach Gill had just, the resume to match any resumes. And I learned a ton from him and the staff that he built around us. But he did retire, and usually in college, when your head coach retires, you're moving on. And that's when I made the transition to NIU, where I started out as a corners coach. Then I transitioned to a special teams coordinator along with a tight ends coach tag. So I've coached a ton of positions, from linebackers to safeties to nickels to corners to tight ends to quarterbacks, you name it. I've coached it all at the highest level. I have the opportunity during my coaching career to coach 5 total All-Americans at the FBS level. So I've just been super blessed. Sometimes great coaches or great players make great coaches, right? And, then obviously after NIU was when my wife and I decided I wanted to move back. And we wanted to move back closer to family. Our family's all out here. And just looking for the right situation at the right time. And Clovis was open. I got 24 hours notice. I interviewed in 24 hours. And a couple days later, I was offered the job, and obviously it was a no-brainer for me, just from what I've heard about the school, what I've heard about the culture, obviously the tradition here in Clovis High School. And, you'll see our hashtag on social media. Everybody will say, bring it back. We want to bring back that tradition and that mentality of championship-level football year in and year out here at Clovis.
So now that you've been here, for about a week or two, maybe like a month now, what is your first impressions of the team, the players that you're working with? We see them all out in the field now. We're doing more workouts than ever during the offseason. Tell us, what's your first impression of them?
Yeah, well, first day was rough. They didn't make it through the warm-up just because the details weren't there, the expectations weren't there, at least to my liking on what I think a championship standard is. But we got that corrected and fixed. And what's nice about Clovis kids is that if you put the bar up here, they'll meet and they'll match the bar. And so we just didn't, and I expressed to them I'm not going to lower the bar for them. I know what it's like to win championships. I've been a part of championship programs at the highest level. Obviously at Liberty we won 5. NIU just won a MAC championship. So I know what that culture should be and what that standard should be. And yeah, so the first day was rough for them, not for me. I knew the game, that we were playing and that they would get through it. But now they know what the standard is, and they're, like I said, they're Clovis kids. They will match the standard where we put the standard, and they have been really working hard. And I think they've worked harder in this first month than they've ever worked in probably in their entire lives. But we have been working hard. They've done a great job, and they're great kids. I really do. I love every single one of them. We're fixing some character issues. That's easy. That's an easy fix when you have accountability. But they're buying in, and we're going to turn the corner here in the next couple of weeks to really taking it to another level.
So coaching, up in the college level, and now you're back in the high school level and seeing the kids that you're working with. What is the one thing that you've taken away from college football that you definitely want to bring into the kids now, seeing what you're working with?
Well, I think just the organization and just how everything at that level is so you can have an edge. And, really from nutrition to sleep to hydration to all the off-season stuff you do in terms of off-season training. Like, there is no such thing as off-season, and that's really – in college you have one season, and it's as soon as you're done, you're either playing another sport here at Clovis or you're working with us in what we call our fifth quarter program. So I think that's the biggest thing I want to bring here to Clovis High School is the mindset that we're always working, we're always trying to improve and get better, because if we're not, somebody else is, and we always want to maintain that edge. And then just implementing the nutrition piece that we talked about and having the right and the proper nutrition items for our young men so they can recover, so they know how to sleep. And a lot of it's education, me educating them on the things that you learn. Like when you're in college, you feel like you go through a PhD in not only coaching, but in terms of the physiology of exercise, of sleep, of mental toughness, mental wellness. I mean, you just name it, a plethora of stuff that you have to go through. But I definitely, that experience I'm going to bring with me, and then also the experience of knowing what the best of the best do and what it looks like to get to that level. I think most kids, when I ask them if they want to play college football, they probably all raise their hands. Mm-hmm. And then you really start to think to yourself and you say, you want to play, but do your actions match the words? And so just getting our actions to match the words has been a huge adjustment for the kids, but they have responded in a good way.
Yeah, and it's awesome to see you too, because you're going around on campus. You're now recruiting other kids that aren't playing sports, but they look like they could definitely be a great football player. You're now implementing the chocolate milk after all workouts, and implementing like new equipment and whatnot throughout the workouts. But like with this off season right now, what are you really focusing on? They're in the gym, they're also out on the field, but like what are you really honing into?
Culture. 100% culture. So our goal is to teach our culture in the weight room and how we train. I think the main thing is that we had a conversation last night. We're always talking. We're on this group chat thing, and we're always talking with the kids. I think the main thing is building a team in the weight room, building a team here out on the field, learning how to encourage each other, learning what a team really looks like, taking the individual out and putting a team together. And that's been 100% the main thing we've been doing every single day, is just building the culture that we want. And it's a culture, we talk about cultures, and there's so many different definitions of culture out there, and you see so much stuff on TV, etc. Our culture is we build we're going to teach you life through the game of football, what it's really like, what life is truly like. If you don't show up on time consistently, if you don't do this, if you don't wear the right, et cetera, all the things that you're supposed to do to have success in life, we want to teach, but through the game of football. And I think that's been awesome. There's been a wake-up call, like I said, because it's nothing. Being a champion is not optional. You have to do things. You have to do things the right way. But they have, like I said, they've responded. We have an accountability system that we call the Circle of Champions that we put in, and you want to be in that circle, and it's tough for you if you're out of the circle. And as you saw this morning when we were going through workouts, you see some guys on the outer circle. Those guys just got to get right. That's it. And then then the behavior changes. Then we're starting to build a championship culture.
And so with all the other teams, too, we now have an upcoming freshman class. We also have the JV team. What are you focusing on with those student athletes that are coming up in the program?
Yeah, nothing different for the youngsters to the olders. It's just same thing, culture. We'll start with culture. We have not focused on anything football-wise. It's all been how you work, what the details are, how you exercise properly. How do you live a proper life? How do you show up on time? Are you supposed to be where you're supposed to be all the time? Why did the teacher text me about this? I walk them there and I say, this is how it's supposed to be. This is how you look a teacher in the eyes and you tell the truth. So again, most 90% of what we're doing right now is just fixing the culture to the way that we want it to be. So it's an accountability culture. It's a player-centered culture, but teaching leadership to what we call our leadership council. We put a leadership council into place. And yeah, it's been a lot of work, but it's part of the process when you're trying to when you're a new coach and you want to change the culture that matches you.
Yeah, Dean, talk about the leadership council a little bit, because now you could definitely tell the students are more accountable with each other. They're actually talking to each other more. They're hanging out with each other. They're all in a group chat, as I seen. Talk about the camaraderie and grouping the team together.
Yeah, that's another thing I got from college that I really respected is most college programs have a leadership council, and what it is it's just a group of young men that we put together that the team votes on, not me, that the team votes on. And really, I just gave them a criteria. Is this guy the hardest worker? Does he show up on time every single day? Is he consistent? And is he a good human being? And really, I had the kids just write them down and text them to me. And it's funny, the same names keep showing up. So that those are the guys that you want to be a part of that leadership council. Now that we have that council, it really is just about, okay, here's the culture that we're trying to instill, but also allow them to have some ownership of the team too. Hey guys, what would it be if a young man is late? What do y'all want to do about that? And so that way it really turns itself into a player-centered culture, and the players are really starting to run each other, right? Because the best teams don't always win championships. Yeah. It's the teams that are the best team. Together, and it's player-centered. Like I told the kids, most all championship teams that I've been a part of has been player-driven, not coach-driven. And so we want a player-led program, not a coach-led program. But I'll lead when I need to, and I have to, and I have been doing a lot of leadership stuff. Yeah. But we're teaching our culture to the leadership council, and then again, it trickles out from there. I can't be at 200 different places. We got 200 kids in this program, plus all the elementary schools. But what I can be is I can be with 10 young men that's on our leadership council and teach them how to lead the other men in our program.
And now that you've been in the program too, what do you think about the coaches? What excites you about it? Different positions, different levels, freshman, JV, varsity. Now, what excites you about meeting them and seeing what you got to work with?
Yeah, well, I'm super excited, in terms of coaches. I'm super excited about what we have on staff. In my interview, I said I wanted to look in the cupboard and see what we have. And, what we have here, Sean Murray is an awesome D-line coach. He's with me every single day at the fifth quarter program. I mean, he's a great coach. He's a great mentor. He's a great leader. He's detail-oriented. He just does a great job. And then Johnny Lopez is on the staff too, and Johnny and myself are working together in the weight room, teaching culture. And Johnny's having a good time. He's got a smile on his face because I think he can see the transition that the kids are making, the new culture, and I think he's really bought into that, and I think that's lifted his spirits quite a bit. And then we have a Division I strength coach already in E.J. Jackson, and my thing to Coach Jackson is, listen, I'm 100% behind you, and I'm here to support you. but he's allowed me to just be who I am and allowed me to really instill the culture that I want, and that's what I love that about EJ. He's not an ego guy, and again, when you have a Division I strength coach, I mean, heck, the workouts are what the workouts are. Let's just teach the culture and how to motivate each other and how to be where we're supposed to be and get there with tempo, etc. And then you have my sidekick, Trans Sanders. Coach Sanders was here, and he's really been my right hand man the whole time, just helping me just from a Clovis scope, right? He's helped me understand Clovis better, the people better. Again, that's critical as a new head coach when you're not from Clovis. To have guys in your corner that help teach you who to shake the right hands, et cetera. He's been awesome. Josh White is another coach that's gonna be on staff. He's also an ex-college coach as well. So we have all these pieces into place, and it's been a great experience for me. Those coaches that have been there, they've coached the kids respect them, and I after that, it's time for us to build the staff, which we're doing and we're in process of, and nothing's official until you write your name on the line. But my expectations as we build a staff is that I hire men that know how to build young boys into men, that know that are the example that they set, that every single day that those young people can look up to them and say, that's who I want to be when I grow up, if that makes sense. So I will be very detailed in how we hire assistant coaches here, because, again, we're not a culture of winning football games. We don't focus on that. We focus on building boys into men.
Yeah. And so last week we were at Old Town Clovis. We have the crab feed tomorrow. And you definitely been implementing a lot more about community, build up, be more implemented in like Old Town, our town here in Clovis. And tell us about more of the community, bringing the team more in the community coming back more to the team, giving back to each other. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, well, the first thing I said, and I was walking down, my wife and I, and I walked into a store, and an ex-Coug told me, he said, Old Town's our town. And I thought to myself, well, that's a heck of a saying right there. And so I came back, and that's when I wanted to do the Old Town takeover. And Old Town is our town, right? Yeah. Old Town's our town. And I think that's the main thing, is we want to bring it, and that's part of our Bring It Back hashtag too, is we want to bring it back. We want to bring Old Town back. We want to bring them into our community, into our stands. We want to have them involved. It takes when you're trying to run a program that's going to run like ours, with all of the things that we're trying to implement, from nutrition to all the exercise bands, to all the new equipment that we're going to need to run a real program, you're going to need Old Town, and you're going to need those people there for that support. So that's the number one thing that we wanted to do, and part of that was our Old Town takedown, promoting our crab feed, and not just our crab feed, but getting our boys in Old Town and having them with their jerseys on. And don't be surprised if we start running our summer conditioning drills in Old Town too. You see Cougars running up and down the street. That's just how we're going to operate. Like I said, Old Town's our town, and we're going to take it back.
What do you have to tell to the community? Maybe they haven't been here in a couple years. But they're thinking about it. They now know that there's a new coach in the program. What do you have to tell to them? Maybe for them to come back this next year and watch football again.
Yeah, I think the main thing is that when you show up to watch Cougar football, you're going to look at a product and you're going to say, that represents Clovis. We're not going to promise wins here. I told the kids in my first speech with them, I'm not going to promise you anything. I'm not going to promise championships. I'm just going to promise that you're going to go through something that's the hardest thing you've ever done in your life. And same thing with the community. We're not going to promise any wins, but what we will promise is that product that we put on the field, whatever player earns that right to wear Clovis on their chest, you're going to look at that and say, I'm proud to represent that. Those kids play like a Clovis player should play. He goes all out every play, and he never quits.
And what do you have to tell to them, expecting these upcoming Friday nights? What do you think is going to be out on the field? A bunch of excitement?
Yeah, there's going to be a ton of juice. We'll be going crazy. We'll have a bunch of guys waving towels. It'll be an exciting atmosphere for us as players. That's part of what we're doing in our culture, is really creating a team where everybody, like I tell the kids all the time, nobody should be more excited than everyone's success than us. Mm-hmm. And so it should be a really, really team-oriented atmosphere.
And something that's going to be really exciting too is whether the game's on Thursday night or Friday night, we will have a live stream on YouTube as well as our website. So you'll be able to see it literally from this view right here. So that's going to be super exciting that we haven't had in the past. So whether you're family, friends that's out of state, maybe, you're working, but you could pop it up on your phone. It'll be a really cool, system that you'll be able to see it live from here and watch the full-on game. So on the second segment right here, we asked all you on our Instagram questions that you wanted to ask Coach right here. And the first one that we got was, what aspects of football excite you the most? What gets you up every morning? Why do you like football?
I just love the game of football because I think it teaches life. I think it teaches real life. When you become a father and you become a husband one day, sometimes things in life are not easy. Sometimes you don't want to do things you don't want to do. And I think what football does is football trains you to have success in life. So that's what gets me up every day. I could care less about wins or, coaching the best players in the world. That stuff doesn't motivate me. That's all external stuff. The internal motivates me. How can I get the most out of that young man on every single rep, every single day, and then teach him to have success in life. So that's just, again, that's kind of probably not an answer a lot of people are expecting, but that is my answer, and that is who I am to the core of my human being and what I believe in.
The next question that we got is, what do you look for in beginners? Now, you've been recruiting a lot of kids on campus. They may not have even played before. They may have used to play or a different sport. What do you look for more in the beginners and what to teach them?
Yeah, so we go out every day at lunch, me and Coach Murray, and we call it Recruit Campus. So we're recruiting kids on campus at lunchtime, and a lot of players tell me, hey, well, I've never played before, and really, I tell them, just give me 2 weeks. Give me 2 weeks and give me a chance. And let's see what we can develop out of you. And I think the main thing is, as you're a beginner, do you not get frustrated easily, and can you focus on like daily improvements? If you can focus on daily improvements and just making improvements, you never know where you could go. There are some kids that have shown up here after school that have never played football, and you're looking at them and you're thinking, oh shoot, he's going to be a player. Like he's going to be a really good player, because just being a recruiter for so long, natural athleticism shows itself, right? A lot of that stuff is genetic. But when you get the match of that athleticism plus a kid that's just focused on getting better and daily improvements, now you're cooking.
So the next question is, the football program is just such a big program in the community, and we've had lots of questions about how are you going to get the community involved, and we kind of touched about it already, but what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think same concept that we already touched on, is that being involved, being in the community, and doing the right things in the community, and maybe it's just us going to clean up trash in Old Town or trash here or trash there, and just show the community that we really care and we really want them here. And then the same concept, we got to put a product on the field that people at Clovis are proud to watch, and they want to show up, and it's exciting. The kids are playing hard. They're never giving up. They're hitting people in the face. We're playing smash mouth football. And again, that's Clovis. Clovis is blue collar, tough, and that's definitely the product that we want to show, a mirror image of what Clovis represents.
So the next question, we actually had a lot of elementary school kids and middle school kids asking about camps, whether it's going to be over spring, summer, what they should be focusing on to get ready for the program. What do you think about that?
Yeah, and I know, and it's a great question from our young men, and I know they see a lot going on weekend camps, and I'm just going to address this like very, very clear and straightforward. I got out of college because it's 24/7, 365. So we're going to give our coaches, and we're going to give our fathers who are coaches, we're going to give them a break on the weekends. They need it. They deserve it. I want it. I want to be a dad and a husband more than I want to be a football coach, and that's just me being honest. Those are my priorities. But what we will do is we're going to be very creative, and we're going to do things under the lights at nights. And I think that's going to be huge for our young elementary schools. And again, it will be driven that way. Let's get you under the lights. Let's get the varsity players out there coaching you up. I'll be out there as always. Just keep looking on our Instagram and our Twitter, and something's coming soon for our young people, and it should be a lot of fun.
So the next question is, have you been recruiting kids for the football program? We touched about it earlier about you walking around campus, but talk more about that. Explain it.
Yeah, so there's two ways to recruit. There's the wrong way to recruit, which is not on your campus, and then there's the right way to recruit. which is on your campus. And I think some people like get the lines mixed there. We're not going to mix those lines. You know, every day, like I said, me and Coach Murray, and really all you have to do is walk around Clovis High, look at the heads and say, well, he's big, he's tall. You know, hey, do you play football? No, Coach. Well, hey, let me introduce myself. And, you know, we have our pitch. Me and Coach Murray have our pitch down pretty good. And we asked 2 weeks from the young men that are on campus, and a lot of them, it's going to be the best decision they've ever had to make in their life, because a lot of things, too, is that if you're not doing something after school, what are you doing? You're probably going home, and most of the answer is all the same. What are you doing after school then? I go home and I play video games. You know, okay, let's get you off the video games. Let's get you out here. Let's get you as a part of a team. How are your grades? Well, they're not very good. It's probably because you're playing too many video games. Why don't you come out here and we'll hold you accountable to your grades and get you right. So and that goes along with parents too. As parents, get your kids out here to play football. I want 300 kids out here day one. Get them all out here. We'll figure out which ones can play and which ones can't. We'll weed them out pretty quick. But yeah, that's our mentality. And again, we're recruiting the heck out of our own campus. And I told this to the players the other day. We have what we need on this campus. We just need to get them out. Yeah. And that's what we're doing.
So the next question involves the senior class. We've had a huge group of seniors leave on. They're now going to college, but we have another great group coming in. What do you expect from them, and what's your plans?
Yeah, well, you know, obviously when you lose as much talent as we did, you know, people are obviously going to just write you off, which is right where we want to be. We want to be under the radar. We want to work in silence, and I think what I really like about this younger group is they don't have the accolades, and it puts a chip on their shoulder. So we have a really good senior class. You know, again, we haven't even got through spring ball, so before I start talking about individual players, I want to see them get their cleats in the ground, and I want to see them out there competing so I know what we do and don't have. But I will say this, those kids have a chip on their shoulder. I think they've always been in the shadow, if that makes sense, and now it's their time to shine in the light. And I think they'll be ready to go, and I really like this group. You know, and again, on paper, sure, but we all know that you don't win games on paper. And I think these kids have bought into that. And again, you know, we'll find out right off the bat. We're going to play one of the best teams in the state of California. So we'll find out, and I'm excited about that opportunity as well.
So the next question is, what culture do you want to bring to the team, to the program?
Yeah, I think, again, it's a very life-driven culture. It's a culture that focuses around team, not individuals. It's a culture that teaches life through the game of football. The other culture that I want, just in Clovis in general, is – you know, I want players that grow up here to stay here. I really do. And I want to make football an enjoyable experience. And you do that, yeah, are we going to push these players hard? Yes, but we're going to respect them. We're going to treat them right. We're going to motivate them in a positive manner. We're going to hold them accountable. We're going to make football fun. Football is a fun game when you do it right. And winning is fun, but there's a price you have to pay before you win. And again, you know, this is out to parents too, is keep your kids in Clovis High School. You know, if we kept all the players here in this system here at Clovis High School, it's a matter of time. It is a matter of time.
So before we get to the next question, if you have any questions, please drop it down in the comments. We read them all. So if you do have a question, you know, on next week's podcast or the week after that, we get to them. We could answer all the questions that you want us to answer. But this next question that we were asked was, what are your expectations, or what have you seen from the offensive line? And definitely, you know, Coach Lopez is in there coaching that group of men, but what do you think about them?
Well, I think the main thing is that, you know, for our offensive line, the expectation is that you're the toughest, hardest, most physical unit in the state of California. I think we will be a very, very offensive line-driven program, tight ends as well. I'm going to lump tight ends and tackles together. Not that tight ends won't ever catch the ball, but because we will. But we at Clovis need to be able to line up, put our hand in the dirt, fire off, hit you in the face, and drive you back and knock back the line of scrimmage. So our offensive line will be pushed the hardest, for sure, without a question. Offensive line is the most critical. Really, the two fronts, offensive and defensive line, are the two most critical groups because they're the most. And again, it all runs through them. If we can't get a snap to the quarterback and we can't block for the quarterback or we can't block for the running back, we're not going to have a great football team. So those guys will be pushed hard, and they will be leaned on hard by their coaches, and they're going to be a phenomenal group. And I don't know who it is yet. But we'll find them, and when they're out there, they're going to hit people in the face, and they're going to do it over and over and over and over and over again, and we will impose our will on our opponents.
And touching base on that too, what's the mentality, that you want to push into the offense as a whole, and then the defense as a whole, and the team as a whole, on the field, and they smash mouth, run it down their mouth. What do you want to give off to them?
Yeah, so being in the MAC, what was awesome about being in the MAC is I really learned how valuable a run game is. So in MAC football, sometimes you have to play in negative 60-degree weather with 60-mile-an-hour winds. It's just the Midwest. It's just the way it is. And you may have an all-star quarterback, but he's not going to be an all-star quarterback when it's negative 60 with 60-mile-an-hour winds. So you have to be able to run the football. So our base will be, can we establish a few run plays and impose our will? But I also learned is that a great run game opens up the explosive passing game. So the guy I learned this offense from, he was at the collegiate level for many years. It's all usually over a 5,000-yard offense per year, and it's predicated on running the football and establishing a very explosive passing game and taking deep shots to the speed that you have. And then defensively, we're going to bring the black shirt system in. And black shirts are something that I learned from Coach Gill at Liberty during his time as a player and as a coach at Nebraska. And only 11 get to wear the black shirt. And it's the most sacred and honored position that you can play. And the best players will play defense here at Clovis because, again, if you have a run game and a defense, you got a chance. And all we need is to get the game into the fourth quarter, and then our training will take over after that. So that's the mentality, and that's what we're going to bring to Clovis.
Thanks for watching this first episode of our podcast. Just a little heads up again. We're on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, as well as here under Cougar Football on all the social medias except for this one. This is Clovis High Football. And as I said, we're going to be uploading a lot more, highlight film, maybe, practice film that you could see all the kids out there running around, as well as the podcast is going to be a weekly thing, whether we're up here at La Monica or at a different location. So definitely stay tuned. Subscribe, turn on notifications, smash the like button, share this with a friend. We're also going to be on Facebook very soon, so stay tuned. But any last words, Coach?
I'm just super excited for the opportunity. I can't express how thankful I am to be the head coach here at Clovis High School. We need everybody involved. We need everybody to come back. If you're an alumni, I don't care where you're at, fly yourself here, get here into the stadium, come be a part of something that you will be proud of. And like I said, our hashtag is bring it back. We're going to bring it back. We're going to bring back the mentality. We're going to bring back the mindset. We're going to bring back the alumni. And we're really going to make this thing what Clovis is and what Clovis should be and what people know Clovis for. So can't wait to see you in the stands. Can't wait to see you at the crab feed. Crab feed is coming up. And if you're there, introduce yourself. Can't wait to shake your hand.
And for that, tickets should be online, so you can get your tickets now before they sell out, because we're going to sell out this stadium. But thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and have a great day. Go Cougs.
Go Cougs.